We planned a backyard wedding with just 30 guests. Our neighbor offered to let us borrow her garden lights. I was grateful, until the day of the ceremony when she set up a bounce house, a DJ booth, and her own tent right next to ours. I thought I'd invite a few friends too, she said. By 5 p.m., her party had 80 people. Her guests were eating our food. Then she took the mic and said, "Let's all toast to new beginnings, mine included," and announced her own engagement. I'm not someone who likes a lot of attention. Neither is my wife. That's why we decided to get married in our own backyard. Just 30 people. Close friends and family. Nothing fancy, just something that felt like us. We live in a small town in Oregon. Quiet, nothing flashy. We'd been renting the house for a few years, and we knew most of the neighbors. One of them was Rita. Rita was always around. The kind of woman who drops by while you're trying to mow the lawn or sit on the porch in peace. She never asked if it was a good time. She'd just talk and talk. Her kids were grown, and she had too much time on her hands. A few weeks before the wedding, she caught wind of our plans. She showed up at our gate while I was hanging string lights. "You're having the wedding here?" she asked. "Yeah. Just a small thing." "Oh, how sweet. You know, I have these amazing garden lights from when my daughter had her sweet 16. You can borrow them if you want." I hesitated. I didn't want her involved. But my fiancée, Jenna, thought it was a kind offer. She said it would be rude to say no. So I thanked Rita and told her that would be helpful. I regret that more than anything. She dropped off a dusty storage bin full of tangled string lights the week of the wedding. Half of them didn't work. A few strands had dead bugs stuck in the bulbs. But I didn't complain. I picked out the ones that looked okay and tossed the rest. Then came the wedding day. Our ceremony was set for 3 p.m. I woke up early to prep, thinking I had time to finish setting up. I stepped outside around 8 a.m. to check on the lawn and saw her in our backyard, with a massive inflatable bounce house halfway up. "Rita?" I asked. She turned around, cheerful. "Hey there! Thought I'd get an early start." "Start what?" "Oh, I figured I'd have a few friends over while you guys are already hosting. I told them you were doing a little something back here, and I thought we could all share the space." My jaw locked. "Rita, this is our wedding. We've got 30 people coming." She waved her hand like I was being ridiculous. "Don't worry. We'll stay on our side. Just a little fun, that's all. You'll hardly notice." Except there wasn't really a. Her sighed. The backyard was one open space. No fence. Just a thin line of bushes that barely came up to your knees. She knew that. She just didn't care. I told her it wasn't okay. She just smiled like I was joking. "I'm just trying to help create a fun vibe," she said. "Besides, everyone loves a bounce house." She turned back around and started yelling instructions at the guy setting it up. I went inside to talk to Jenna. I was angry, but she didn't want to cause a scene. She said we should try to ignore it and focus on each other. I wish we hadn't. By noon, Rita had set up 5 folding tables, strung up more lights, some hanging on our fence posts, and even brought in a damn DJ booth. Her cousin or nephew or some random guy with giant speakers was doing sound checks as our guests started to arrive. I asked him to keep it down. He nodded, then immediately cranked the bass again. By 2:30, people we didn't even know were wandering around. Someone grabbed a plate from our buffet table. I stopped them and said, "Sorry, this is a private event." They looked at me like I was the rude one. Rita said it was open. She hadn't just invited a few friends. She invited everyone. Neighbors, coworkers, randoms. At least 80 people by 5 p.m. They were using our chairs, taking photos by our wedding arch, and eating the food Jenna's sister had made for our wedding. I was trying to keep it together. I didn't want to ruin Jenna's day. She kept telling me, "Let it go. It's just one day." Then Rita grabbed the mic. We hadn't planned speeches yet. We were still trying to gather everyone around when she walked up to the DJ and took the microphone like it was her show. "Hi everyone!" she yelled, laughing. "Let's all raise a glass." People got quiet. "I just wanted to say what a beautiful day this is. Love is in the air. Let's all toast to new beginnings." I clenched my jaw. Jenna reached for my hand. "And not just theirs," she said. "Because I have an announcement too." I already knew what was coming. I felt it in my chest. "This man right here," she said, pointing to some sweaty guy in a salmon polo, "just asked me to marry him." He held up her hand and kissed it like we were all supposed to clap. I know, she said, giggling. "We didn't want to steal the spotlight. But with all this love in the air, we just had to share." The DJ started blasting celebration. Her people cheered and clapped and started dancing. Our guests just stood there, confused. Some looked at us, like they didn't know if they should say congrats or not. Jenna's mom was speechless. My brother looked ready to tackle the DJ. I wanted to scream. Instead, I smiled. I looked over at Jenna. She was trying so hard not to cry. And that's when I decided. This wouldn't end here. Rita thought she could hijack our wedding, use our backyard, our setup, our food, to make it about her. She thought she could steamroll us just because we were being polite. No. She messed with the wrong couple. I started planning my revenge that same night. That night, after everyone left and the last dish was put away, I sat out back with a beer in my hand, staring at the mess Rita's crowd left behind. Our wedding cake had been picked over. Not eaten, picked over. Like animals had been at it. There were red Solo cups in the bushes, a child's sneaker in the birdbath, and someone had left a half-eaten corn dog under the arch where Jenna and I said our vows. Jenna had gone inside hours earlier. She was exhausted, emotionally drained, and heartbroken in a way I'd never seen. Not because we weren't married, we were, but because the day we'd planned so carefully was now tied to that circus. I walked next door. Rita's lights were still on. I knocked. No answer. I knocked harder. She finally opened the door, still in her party dress, a glass of wine in hand, makeup smudged. "Oh hey! Wasn't that fun?" she said. "You hijacked our wedding." She laughed. "Come on. It was a shared celebration. Everyone had a great time. You didn't ask. You didn't check. You took our food, our space, and then you announced your engagement like we were guests at your party." She rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic. It was one day. You're married now, move on." And then she shut the door in my face. That was the final straw. Over the next week, I went full detective. I started by calling the rental company that provided the bounce house. They told me Rita had rented it under her business name. That caught my attention. I didn't even know she had a business. Turns out Rita ran a mobile party service. For kids, bounce houses, balloon arches, speakers, themed setups, you name it. Her Facebook page had over 1,200 followers. Most of them were local parents and community groups. So she didn't just use our wedding to throw a party, she used it to promote her business. There were videos on her page already. One clip showed the DJ hyping up the crowd, with our arch in the background. Another showed a slow-motion shot of her walking down the aisle alone with the caption, "Big announcements at today's big event." No mention of us. No credit. Just her, using our wedding like a showroom. I was furious. So I started digging deeper. She wasn't licensed. No insurance. No permits. She'd been hosting events in public parks and private properties without anything official for years. And then I saw it. A flyer. She was planning a community love fest in 2 weeks at the local elementary school. I made a call. No, the principal said. She hadn't booked it through them. She just assumed the space was open. I sent the principal screenshots of her Facebook page, the lack of business licensing, and the fact she used someone else's wedding without permission. She was horrified. I also called the county. No permit history. No food handler's license. No business registration under her name, her business name, or any variation. They opened a case. By the end of the next week, her Facebook page was flooded with angry comments. A few moms posted about how she'd ghosted them after taking deposits. One woman said her son's birthday party was canceled last minute because Rita double-booked and chose the bigger party. Then someone linked to our wedding photos. A friend of Jenna's had posted a small album. You could see Rita in the background of every shot, holding a wine glass, laughing with her new fiancé like she was the one being celebrated. By the time the school event date rolled around, Rita showed up with a trailer full of party gear, only to find the school locked tight. A big yellow sign on the gate read, "Event cancelled due to unauthorized use of school property." There were parents and kids waiting. Some had driven over an hour. She had no explanation. Just stood there, embarrassed, trying to make phone calls. That was just the beginning. I thought ruining her event would be enough. It wasn't. Because Rita didn't just bounce back, she doubled down. A few days later, she posted a long Facebook rant. Claimed, jealous neighbors were trying to sabotage a small woman-run business. She said our wedding was technically a public event, since there were no fences or signage. She accused us of discrimination and said she was considering legal options. It was pure lies. But people started buying into it. Some of her friends commented things like, "I was there, it was so fun. You brought the party, girl. That couple should have been grateful." And just like that, people started treating us like the villains. We started getting weird messages. Jenna's Instagram got spammed with rude comments. Someone even left a 1-star review on her Etsy shop saying, "Bad vibes, wouldn't trust her with anything important." That's when I realized Rita was trying to flip the script. She wanted to ruin our reputation so she could save hers. So I went further. I reached out to a friend of mine from high school, Aaron, who worked in local journalism. I hadn't talked to him in years, but he owed me a favor from way back when. I laid everything out. The wedding, the hijacking, the Facebook lies, the school incident, the fake business. I showed him screenshots, video clips, even old Yelp reviews from parents who said she never refunded deposits. Aaron said, "Give me a few days." He did his own digging. Talked to the county. Pulled public records. Called a few of the moms who had been scammed. Then he hit gold. Turns out Rita's business wasn't just unregistered. It was under investigation already for accepting federal COVID relief money as a small business. She'd filed for over $17,000 in PPP funds. And now that it was being looked into, she couldn't cover it up. Aaron ran the story under the headline, "Local party planner under fire for hijacking wedding, defrauding clients, and faking permits." He didn't use our full names, but it was clear who we were. Our town's small. People talk. The fallout was fast. Within 24 hours, Rita's Facebook disappeared. Her phone number stopped working. People started posting screenshots of Venmo transactions where she charged them for events that never happened. One woman said she was taking her to small claims court. I thought that would be the end. But then we got a knock at the door. It was a man in a rumpled blue button-up and khakis. Said he was from the state auditor's office. He was polite, but serious. Showed us his badge. Asked if we'd be willing to give a formal statement about the wedding incident and her business behavior. I said yes. He recorded everything. Asked about the bounce house, the food, the DJ, the guests, the engagement announcement. He even asked to see the original invitation email we'd sent to our guests. When he left, he shook my hand and said, "This might take a few months, but thank you. This helps a lot." So now we weren't just neighbors with a feud. We were part of a fraud case. And Rita? She started spiraling. First, she tried to post a half apology on the local community board, said she was going through personal struggles, and that people were misinterpreting her intentions. No one bought it. Then, she had the nerve to slide a handwritten note under our door. It said, "You're blowing this out of proportion. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Can we talk?" Jenna ripped it in half. Because what Rita didn't know was, I still had more. She thought she'd seen the worst. But I'd saved something for last. And it was going to bury her. I hadn't told Jenna the full plan yet. I didn't want her involved in this part. See, Rita didn't just crash our wedding and lie about it. She tried to rewrite the truth. Turn the town against us. Spread rumors. She wanted sympathy, pity, and her business back. But I had something she didn't know I had. Security footage. A month before the wedding, I'd installed a set of basic security cameras in the yard. Nothing fancy. Just enough to monitor the back and side gates, and a wide shot of the lawn. Mostly to keep an eye on deliveries and the occasional raccoon. I'd forgotten about them in all the chaos. But now they were gold. I pulled the footage from the wedding day. The camera facing the back lawn showed everything, clear as day. Rita directing the bounce house crew. Rita walking over to our buffet table and eating before guests arrived. Her fiancé sneaking wine from our cooler. Random strangers taking chairs from our setup and dragging them over to her side. Then the speech. Full audio. Her holding the mic saying, "Let's all toast to new beginnings, mine included." That part hit me like a punch all over again. But I didn't look away. I clipped it all together into a 10-minute highlight reel and sent it to Aaron, the reporter. Bonus content, I told him. He posted it to the newspaper's online channel with the title, "Watch. Woman crashes wedding, announces own engagement, eats the couple's food." It went viral. People from outside the state started commenting. Strangers called her the engagement crasher. Someone made a TikTok remix of her speech with dramatic music. Even Reddit picked it up under our /wedding shaming. And the best part? Someone tagged the local district attorney's office. I didn't know if it would go anywhere. But a week later, a process server showed up at Rita's door. I watched from my window as she opened it, took the envelope, then slammed it shut with so much force the screen popped off. The fraud case was real now. That same night I got a call. It was Jenna's sister, Kate. "Hey, you guys might want to check your Yelp page." I didn't even know we had one. Turns out, Jenna's name and business, her Etsy store for handmade wedding decor, got tagged in the article. People wanted to support her. Which was great. But someone, guess who? Had started posting fake reviews. Accusing her of stealing design ideas. And being difficult to work with. Rita. I checked the usernames. They were all recent. All poorly written. And one even used her fiancé's name by mistake. That's when Jenna broke. She wasn't angry anymore. She was exhausted. She looked at me and said, "Why does she keep coming at us? What did we ever do to her?" I didn't have an answer. Not a real one. Rita was the kind of person who needed control. And we'd taken it away from her. That was enough to make her dangerous. So I went nuclear. I had a friend, Kyle, who was good with tech. Not illegal stuff. Just clever. He dug into her online presence. Found old cached versions of her deleted Facebook posts. Found receipts she'd posted accidentally with private client info still visible. Even found a list of vendors she claimed to partner with, none of whom had ever heard of her. Then Kyle found something bigger. Rita had a previous business name. An LLC registered 10 years ago. Different name, different logo. But same line of work. Party events and design. The company was dissolved after a lawsuit. Turns out she'd been sued by a bride in Idaho back in 2016. For bailing on a wedding the morning of and refusing to refund the $4,000 deposit. I contacted that bride. Her name was Meredith. She still had the paperwork. I asked her if she'd be willing to talk to Aaron. She said yes. Aaron published a follow-up. A pattern of deceit, wedding hijacker tied to past fraud lawsuit. At this point, Rita was radioactive. Vendors dropped her. Clients demanded refunds. Her fiancé, Mr. Salmon Polo, deleted every photo of them together and set his profile to private. But I still wasn't done. Because while she was spiraling online, trying to hold on to what little reputation she had left, I knew something she didn't. A final detail. Something personal. And when I dropped that bomb, it wouldn't just end her business. It would end everything. The final piece came from a mistake Rita made 2 years ago. She had told everyone that her ex-husband left her with nothing. Said he abandoned the kids, took all the money, and left her to rebuild. She used that story to get sympathy, clients, even small loans from neighbors. But Kyle, my tech-savvy friend, had found her old divorce records. Public files. And what they showed was something very different. Rita wasn't the victim. She was the one who got caught. Financial fraud. She'd been using her husband's social security number to open credit cards while they were married. When he found out and filed for divorce, he also pressed charges. She avoided jail time by agreeing to pay restitution and lost custody of one of her kids for a while. She'd been slowly trying to rewrite her past. New town, new name for the business, and a carefully crafted image of being a tough survivor. I didn't just want to ruin her business anymore. I wanted the truth out. So I sent the public records to Aaron. Again. But I didn't stop there. I made an anonymous post on the local community Facebook group. Just screenshots. Just facts. No opinions. I let people come to their own conclusions. And they did. The comments lit up. She lied about everything? Wait, wasn't she asking for donations for her son's school stuff last month? Is this the same Rita who took $300 from my mom for that canceled baby shower? She couldn't run from it now. Her fiancé dumped her publicly with a comment under one of the posts. Had no idea who I was really engaged to. I'm out. A local moms group started compiling names of families Rita had scammed. They formed a group and filed a joint complaint with the state. Jenna and I got a handwritten apology note in our mailbox 2 days later. It said, I made mistakes. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Please stop dragging this out. I've lost everything. I read it once, then burned it. And I wish I could tell you that after that, everything felt good. But it didn't. Not really. Yeah, she got what she deserved. Her business was dead. Her name was toxic. Her reputation was done. But the truth is, revenge doesn't fix the damage she caused. Jenna and I? We still flinch when people bring up our wedding. She doesn't even like looking at the photos anymore. The arch we got married under? We took it down. Burned it in the fire pit the week after the last article came out. Because even though we won in the end, it still felt like we lost something important. And me, I learned that being the bigger person doesn't always work. Sometimes people like Rita see kindness as a weakness. And if you give them an inch, they'll take the whole damn day. Would I do it again? Hell yes. But maybe next time, I'd stop being polite a lot earlier. Let them call me dramatic. Let them call me petty. Because at least they'll know one thing for sure, they'll never walk all over me again.